Hi, welcome to today's short video on custom reusable elements. The custom reusable elements Fiori app gives the key users an opportunity to create their own custom libraries and custom code list. Now, all these are reusable components. Inside the custom libraries, the key users can create their own structures and functions. In this demo, we will create one such new library, and inside it we'll create a method. Subsequently, we will use that method in one of our custom logic. Let's go ahead and create. Let's call this one as AU validations. As we can see, once we give the name, SAP suggests the library ID for the same. Let's go ahead and create. Now, like we discussed earlier, the library inside the library we can have method, structure, tables, and data. Let's click on the add button for method. Let's call our method as identify AU person. The description we can give as identify BP of person category and country as Australia. Now let's get inside the method. The next step would be to create the different parameters. Let's create the first importing parameter. Let's call it as IBP category. Let's call it again BP category. Let's It would be of type text, and let's give it a length of 1. Right, let's create the next one. The next importing parameter, let's call it as IV country, and we will again call it as country key. This would be an importing parameter of type text. Let's give the length as 3. Again, we will make this one mandatory as well. In case we want to make it optional, we just have to put this one as tick. Let's create a returning parameter. Let's call the return parameter as rv underscore au person. We can just call it as au person. This one we will select from the parameter type as returning. The type we can just call it as a boolean, and let's go ahead and publish it. Right. So now we can see the status change to publishing. Now it's in the published state. Let's go back. Let's click on the method ID. Now we can see two sections. On the left hand side is the section where we will have to put our business logic, and on the right hand side are the parameters which we had defined earlier. We can see the importing parameters, and then we can also see the returning parameters. Now let's put a simple business logic. Let's say if IV BP category is equal to 1 and IV country is equal to AU, we would just return the returning parameter rvau person is equal to abap true. All right, let's save it and let's publish it. So our code is ready now. Now the next step would be to implement, or sorry, to use this library and the method in our custom logic. Let's navigate to our custom logics app and select the BP validations. We had earlier implemented this particular implementation for adding validations to the BP. Let's go inside the code editor. Let's go to the edit section. Earlier, the validation that we had put was if the country is equal to AU, we were returning a message. Now we need to enhance it further to also check the person. that the BP category is a person and the country is equal to AU. So now, instead of directly checking this code, we will use the library that we created earlier. Now, one thing we need to do is we need to capture the library name. Let's go back to our reusable elements. Let's copy this one, the library name. Let us navigate back again to our custom logics app. Let's open the code editor again. Yep. So now let's remove this line and instead let us paste our library name. Now let's try to find our method name. Yes, we can see the method that we created earlier, identify AU person. Now let's provide the inputs that it needs. So we'd go with the first one, BP category. The BP category is available in the LSBP root. Let's go to LSBP root and select the business partner category. So here we have the business partner category. Let's select the other parameter, which is the country code, country. So country is available in LSBP address. Let's select this country. Now, what we need to check is if the information returned by this method is equal to ABAP true, then we know that this is an AU one. So what we need to do here is we need to put the if clause here. If this is equal to true, that means this is an AUBP and we are going to stop the creation and return a message. Let's also modify the error message. We will say person BP creation for AU is prohibited. Let's save and publish it. So now what we are going to do is we will go back to our Manage Business Partner app. First create a person BP and then we will create a organization BP. Let's go to our Manage BP application. Yep. Let's press create. The first step is create a person BP. Let's select a role. Let's call it as a contact person. Let's give a name. Let's call it Mr. Alex Howard. We would select the country as AU. We would select the region as Victoria. Let's say OK. So the screens are still loading. Now the next step would be go ahead and create. So we can see our new error message, person BP creation for AU is prohibited, is displayed. So that means our business logic is working as expected. But let's verify it by creating an organization BP. Let's go back. Now let's create an organization BP. Let's select a BP role. Let's call it as a vendor and we can give an organization name, company. We will say Smith and Co. We'd put the same logic. We'd select the country again as AU. We would select the region as Victoria again. Let's say OK. Now let us look into the backend to identify where what we are going
the
to do is
validation
let's
or the
press
library that we
create.
created resides in. So here we can see the library name in SE24 in the class builder. So let's press
Yes.
on
So this
display,
time the BP has
and
got
here we can
created. We have
find the
got the new
method
BP
which
ID
we
for it.
had earlier created. Let's go inside the method, and here we should see the code somewhere. Yep. So here we can see the custom code that we had written, which checked that the BP category is 1 and the country is equal to AU. Now again, for debugging purpose, this is where we can look into. That's all for today's session. Thank you and see you in the next one.